Silakan.
All right, I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, the Board of Examiners, the Honorable Bu Mika, my first supervisor, the Honorable Bu Nova as my second supervisor, and the respectful Chair Bu Sri Andriani. First of all, I want to thank you, ma'am, for giving me the chance to present my article in this thesis defense. My name is Haidil Al-GGF, and in the next 15 minutes, I will be talking about my bachelor thesis entitled Developing a Website as a Supplementary Digital Writing Platform for the undergraduate students. So basically, there are 3 main reasons why I brought this thesis. To begin with, essay writing is a required course for all ELE and ELL students at the Faculty of Letters, Universitas Negeri Malang. It is considered the most challenging writing type and essential skill for many academic purposes. Secondly, according to the 2019 catalog, the essay writing course in our department has been using a 5-step process writing approach, namely planning, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. However, based on my needs analysis, the essay writing lecturers and students lack a supplementary digital writing platform that provides these process writing approach features and appropriate resources. Numerous studies were conducted on electronic platforms using various online tools, including blogs, social media, messengers, and course management system in the writing classroom. Yes, it is proven that these digital writing platforms have been effective for writing skills development and motivation. Unfortunately, none of those provide 5-step process writing approach features, meaning they only focus on the final output instead of the importance of essay development. I found one supplementary digital writing platform that implemented the process writing approach from Silka 2016, namely writingmate.net. Nevertheless, it only provides argumentative materials, which are the following advanced course after we passing essay writing course and paragraph writing course. Consequently, the resources are in this web prototype are not complete yet for other writing types, expository essays. Moreover, the model essays given are unfamiliar to ELE and ELL study programs. Furthermore, she further suggested that future researchers need to add additional supporting features because her web prototype did not provide the aid for students to archive their work, paraphrase, or check plagiarism and grammatical errors. Thus, my research aims to develop a functional and active website as a supplementary digital writing platform with appropriate and relevant resources for essay writing courses targeted at ELE and ELL students at Universitas Negeri Malang. These are the 7 stages of the method I used in my research, and it is adapted from the theory of Borg and Gold 1983. In the first stage, the needs analysis, I conducted a questionnaire via Google Form of 15 multiple questions for 50 respondents from ELE and ELL students batch 1920 and 20 because they already took online essay writing courses previously. And the results are as follows. Number 1, although most students enjoyed and like writing English essays, most students still face writing difficulty due to uninteresting materials and unsuitable model essays. Secondly, over half of the students admitted that finding relevant resources on the internet is very difficult. And thirdly, all students already have gadgets and use them frequently because their classes are conducted entirely online. Next, I also conducted a semi-structured online interview of 16 questions regarding the effectiveness of current digital writing platforms that they have been utilizing. And the result indicates that 10 students agreed that WhatsApp group, Google Classroom, Sipajar, email, Google Drive, and Google Docs are not really efficient in saving files because it is time consuming and not sorry. Terakhir sampai mana ya tadi ya?
Result and discussion aja diulang lagi nggak apa-apa.
Sidoarjo oh ya jadi kayak wifi-nya ada screen ulang di sini ya tadi terakhir.
Iya, di sini dia.
Okay. Let me continue. So talking about the result of this semi-structured interview, the result indicates that 10 students agreed that WhatsApp group, Google Classroom, Sipajar, email, Google Drive, and Google Docs, which are the current digital writing platforms that the students and lecturers have been using currently, are not efficient in saving files because it is time consuming and not integrated with the 5-step process writing approach. Moreover, most of them claim that relatable topics would motivate them better because they would have prior knowledge and experience to develop their essay structures. In addition to that, they mentioned that the archive features is really needed to encourage students to rewrite and revise maximally because there would be extra credit as an author credit under their names, and they would feel ashamed since it's gonna be digital and references for the public. So the pressure is high for them to revise and rewrite better. Hence, I created this product, namely Rewrite Website. This is the homepage of the website consisting of the information as a feature and archive feature for public readers. If the user wants to utilize the 5-step process writing approach based on this theory, they need to sign up or log in as a writer or a lecturer. This is the sign up feature to make an account. But if you are already registered, you may directly log in by your email address and password. And this is the showcase of my profile feature consisting of your short biography, identity, and published essay history. Well, this is the dashboard and my class feature to create or to join an essay writing class by a class code given by the lecturer. So let us talk about the details of the 5-step process writing approach features. Number 1, in the planning feature, there will be suitable resources for essay writing materials. These materials focus on expository essay lessons, and they are adapted from smelly books given by 3 writing lectures. Also, in the planning feature, complete model essays with related topics to ELE and ELL study programs are provided. For example, this is a whole essay about the most famous universities in Malang. So it's more about education. And also there's a discussion essay talking about ISEC at UM. And next example is about academic writing tips. After brainstorming and reading many titles in the planning feature, writers or students may start outlining their initial draft in the prompt provided, such as thesis statement, their layers of body paragraphs, and concluding points restatement. After the lecture approves the student's draft, all writers will get constructive feedback from their classmates and peer review in the revising feature. Then the students rewrite and revise their essays based on the criticism and suggestions given. Students can use these helpful tools to check their grammar mistakes and plagiarism level in the editing feature. If it has more than 20 similarity, they may paraphrase in the connected links given and submit the result to the lecturer for an assessment. Last but not least, the publishing feature is a place for a lecturer to mark a score and give a final evaluation. If the essay is qualified enough, it is encouraged to be published in the archive feature. The archive feature can be a very potential and most significant motivation for students to write better because it will be digital footprints and reading lists for the next generation. After I finished developing my website, I did the experts validation. An academic lecturer from Palaski University Olomouc and media expert from Universitas Negeri Malang assessed and evaluated my product by a checklist of 3 indicators: content, program operation, and design and layout. Overall, the result is perfect for content, design, and layout, also good enough for program operation. As a result, for every aspect, scores calculated were above 60% based on the interpretation table by Sulistyo 2011. The website doesn't really need to be revised actually, but to make it better for rewrite website, I repaired the website based on both experts' comments and suggestions. For the first revision, I only needed to add a comment section and feedback feature, not only in the revising part, but also in the model essays part. So constructive discussion would be possible and happening there. After that, I conducted a product tryout for 20 students selected from 50 respondents randomly. This number is ideal enough to represent 10 samples from ELE or English Language Education Study Program and 10 from ELL or English Language Literature Study Program. The product tryout for target users had 4 leading indicators, and the testing result shows that all of those factors are excellent quality and satisfying. Let's break down one by one. Number 1, it's about general aspect witnessed a 90.7 mean score with 6 components, as you can see. Secondly, the layout got an 87.83 mean score with 6 components. Thirdly, writing material has an 89 mean score for 7 components. And last but not least, control and use aspect of 7 components also experience a higher mean score of 89.71%. Despite of this positive feedback, because it's above 60, right? I still did a second revision because some students apparently had the same advice as the media expert. It's about the minor misspelling in one of my materials written on the website. Therefore, I revised that from COUMT to COUNT. Finally, here is the depiction of the final product with the website link, which is already a functional and active link, rewritewebapp.com. To sum up, Rewrite website implements the 5-step process writing approach and model essays with topics related to ELE and ELL topics or issues, and each stage is equipped with supporting features including a feedback session, a paraphrasing tool, a grammar error detector, a plagiarism checker, and archive feature. The website has excellent content, program operation, design and layout, and successful product tryout. Therefore, this rewrite website is ready for public use. To end my presentation, several significant notes and suggestions are as follows. Essay writing lectures should push and encourage their students to archive their final work. By having this archive system, I believe that the continuity of model essays coming from the department would be richer and diverse, just like what we do and prioritize with JOLA system nowadays. Lectures shall credit the student by an author recognition and extra score mark if they publish in the archive feature. And students need to do their best in every step of the 5-step process writing approach, especially in the revising step. Students should be aware that their work might be seen and cited digitally by the public or the next generation of ELE and EL students. Lastly, future researchers are suggested to develop another website with different academic writing courses, for instance, paragraph writing courses, which have totally different details, structures, and approaches. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Yay! Congrats, Haidir.
Silakan kalau ada pertanyaan.
Kayaknya harus ada ini nih, apa? Moderator.
Silakan balik.
Ini aku jadi moderator ya. Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation from Haidir Al-GF. That was a very fascinating presentation. And now this is the time for us to give you some questions. And I would like to call each examiner one by one. And are you ready, Haidir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, now it's time for Miss Novia. Time is yours.
Aku duluan sih, Mbak.
Oke, nggak mau ya? Nggak apa-apa deh.
Iya, Mas.
Oh, oke.
Oh,
Siapa tadi?
Mas Gading dulu ya.
Brama.
Okay, for Mr. Brahman Trahai. Brahman, time is yours.
Okay, so my first question. I saw that on the question.
Sorry, your voice is kind of low.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. Bentar aku pakai. Cek. Bisa didengar?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my first question. So I saw that on your questionnaire results that you have some aspects in this study, such as the student's opinion in writing English essay, studying at home, frequency in using gadgets, and preference on essay samples. So why do you have those aspects? Why do you choose those aspects to be in your study, and how are each of those aspects are relevant to your research objective?
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for the questions. The reason why I chose these 4 aspects for my questionnaires or survey for the needs analysis because this is actually adapted adapted from the previous studies, VRC 2021. She also used this for indicators before developing a supplementary digital platform in the form of website, because in the online learning or online school due to pandemic. Because number one, we need to analyze the students' frequency in using gadgets, because gadgets is the essential factor to determine whether or not this supplementary digital writing platform is needed or not. Also, the difficulty that they are facing in the current platforms, and also the motivation that makes them think it's very difficult to find. And also, how did I conduct this questionnaire to begin with? This instrument, this is actually my first instrument in my research. I have two others instruments, but this particular instrument has been validated by the instrument validator uh, for only targeting the ELE and ELL students cohort 2019 and 2020, not before that, because batch 2019 and 2020 is the one who already faced the era of full online school. So I think that answer your question, sir.
Yes, thank you, Haidir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have more questions, Mr. Bramantara?
Actually, one more question, may I?
Yes, please.
Okay, so in the study, your result is a website called We Write for Students Write. So
Yes.
I want to ask, what if in the future you'll have low interaction and low users? Like, do you have a plan to promote your website to make many people or many students know about your website? Because I think if a website has a low interaction and nobody opens it, I think it'll be useless. So how do you plan to make it known? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the follow-up questions. Sir, I think uh, uh, the effective way for me to promote this website is by collaborating it with the essay writing lectures, because they are the main target user here. That's why specifically in Universitas Negeri Malang environment, because this website as a tryout, it focuses on this population. So that's why I promoted to the 4 classes for essay writing lectures, because if the lecturer accept this digital writing platform in the form of website, the students would follow whatever the lecturer comments. So I think that's the only option that I can promote this website.
I see. Thank you. That's all of my questions.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much for the questions, Mr. Bramantara. Now let's move on to the next examiner, that is Mr. Gading Aulia. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Alif, yeah. Okay, thank you, Liv.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, but I got pressure to ask Heidi. I feel anxious to listening and joining this session. But anyway, dear, I just want to say first of all, it's nice to have and to listen to your presentations and more to your slides. I guess the slides is quite comprehensive, and the detail or the design that you use is necessary there. So I think it's a good thing to have and not to add another distracting data or colors or anything. So I think good job on that. Maybe some of my concerns about your research is that actually quite the same as Bram. I would like to ask you about the instrument and also the participants when you do the need analysis, because here yeah, you use different participants, and you use also different instrument, yeah, to get the findings. My question is there any significant difference on the result when you know when you do the research to the ELE or ELE or even the batch and the cohort? Because on the result of the needs analysis, you kind of mixed all, so we cannot really see which participants need what. So yeah, my question would be: is there actually any significant difference between the usage of the instrument and also the results of the participants? The result of the participants finding. Yeah, dear.
Thank you very much, sir, for the questions. Regarding the differences, finding the different findings that I found uh, between ELE and EL students, uh, is that it's only based on the materials and the essay sample topics that motivate them the most. For ELE or English language education students, they are most likely motivated by English language education topics. For example, issues in teaching pedagogical discussion, for example. Comparatively, for ELL or English language literature students, they are more motivated by the topics or issues that are talking about English literature and linguistics. So I think that's the only biggest difference among them. But to clarify some points, batch what do I mean by batch 2019-2020 is actually the batch that has the class from the year of 2019 to 2020, not both those years. And secondly, the according to the catalog of 2019, there is no significant differences between the course profile for essay writing courses for EL, because this essay writing course is actually a required course for all English department students at Faculty of Letters Universitas Negeri Malang. So when they have passed the paragraph writing course and intensive writing course in as a freshman in the third semester, essay writing course is a required course that they need to take, and all the materials, all the lessons, structures of expository essays are the same. So yeah, I think if that already answer your question, sir.
All right, that's clear, dear. Thank you. I think some more questions, yeah, dear. My second question would be, as you mentioned before on the steps, maybe you can go back to previous slides about the editing, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, yeah. Yeah, about the research method, the educational research and development by Board and Gull. No, not that one. Which one? Yeah. Oh, okay. On slides 13, dear. Yes. Can you go to slide 13? maybe I'll just and I'll just ask the questions. Dear, can you hear can you hear my voice, dear?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay,
Crystal.
okay, okay. I'll just directly deliver the questions. Yeah, you mentioned you mentioned on the results for the tryout about the quantitative findings, yeah, like how many percentage they feel satisfied about the products and about the operations. I wonder, is there any qualitative comments, yeah, on the product? Because actually, as you mentioned before, on the process of the research and development of the product, on the editing part, actually, you mentioned about on the editing part, there should be feedbacks from the users, right? So I wonder if there is any qualitative feedback from the tryout results, so that we can have comprehensive feedbacks from the product itself, not only seeing the quantitative results of the tryout.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you for catching that point. As you can see on my appendix, the questionnaire or the survey for the product tryout that I shared to these 20 initial target user, 10 from ELE, 10 from ELL, and it's not necessarily all quantitative data asking how satisfied this user is, but in the end of the surveys, I also ask several open-ended questions that is asking about the qualitative experience or testimony for this user, and also I also already attach the result in the finding and discussion. For example, like uh, what is the most favorite feature for every individual, the user, and something like that,
Mhm.
sir. Page 54.
I see. Okay, so you already attached the qualitative or the feedbacks or the comments, yeah, from the product.
Yes, sir.
Okay, dear, maybe one last question, dear. Yeah, I wonder, very last, I wonder why on the tryout you don't use previous participants when you do need analysis. Instead, you use different pool of participants on the tryout, because yeah, I just wonder, previously those participants have some concerns, right, about their writing skills and how they develop their writing skills. But at the end, if I'm not mistaken, you use different participants to do the tryout. So yeah, I just wonder, why not use similar or the same participants to get their comments or to get their feedbacks from the pre when you do the need analysis and after you make the product.
All right. Thank you very much for that concern, sir. Actually, the participant of this product tryout, uh, the participants were 20 students, male and female, from ELE and ELL, cohort
Mhm.
2019-2020. It's actually the same 20 participants from the 50 respondents of the questionnaire, sir. So I use
See.
the random sampling technique to represent 10 from ELE and 10 from ELL to join this product tryout, to try out the product and give their testimony and experience. But maybe about the indicators, I am aware that these 4 indicators of general aspect, layout, writing material, control, and use is quite and pretty different with the indicators of expert validation, content, program operation, design, and layout, because based on the theory that I adapt from this product tryout result, it tells me that I need to make it more complex and more specific and more details for product tryout, because the participant of because my target user is not only a lecture. So if the lecture given the abstract indicator like content, program operation, and design and layout is credible for them to differentiate the points per point, but for the students that are not really expert, they need to be given these details as detailed as possible, sir. So I think that's why.
Okay, thank you, dear. Got it. Maybe one of the feedback is you can inform the audience, yeah, when you tell about the tryout participants, so that we are aware. It's actually yeah, it's still random, but the pool of the participants are still taken from the same the same participants when you do need analysis. I guess that's additional information that you can give juga. Thank you, dear.
Thank you,
Thank you, Liv.
Thank you, Mas Gading. Now let's move on to the next examiner. That is Mr. Firman Shauki. Are you there, Mr. Firman?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, time is yours.
Thank you, Mba Alip. Hello, Haidir. How you doing? So I have several questions I would like to ask to you. My first question would be about the quality control of this project, about this website. So in my understanding, this website will be a sustainable, continuous in terms of use for a considerably long-term period, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So have you ever thought about the quality control in assessing the success of this website, and including assessing the success in achieving the objective of your research?
Do you mean the my plan in the long run about to make sure the quality?
Have you okay? Have you ever thought about the quality control of your website, so that you can actually maintain the effectivity and the success of your website in order to achieve the objective of your research?
Yes, sir. For the first step, uh, uh, the way that I took for make sure the quality is based on the need analysis and then expert validation, and also the product tryout. So the first quality that I need to make sure is that I cannot make this website for national level, because apparently essay writing courses in every single university in all over Indonesia has totally different course profile. So for example, in Universitas Negeri Malang, even though Universitas Negeri Malang and Universitas Negeri Solo have the same essay writing courses for the third semester, but their course profile, their lessons are totally different. Maybe in UM we learn about expository essays, but in the in Solo they are not only learning about expository essay. That's why the first step that I need to make sure is about the target user. That's why my first supervisor, Bu Mika, told me and also suggested me to narrow it down to the scope of ELE and ALL students only. Is that what you meant, or I got you wrong?
What I mean is that after you establish the product, the website, how would you maintain the effectivity, its effectivity to your user for a long-term use? That's what I meant.
Okay, sorry for misunderstood. I think the plans that I need to pursue to make sure the quality of this website is to have the collaboration with the essay writing lecturers and the students, and also from the department, because I initiated and created and developed this website specifically for internal use in my department and my beloved university. So So I think at the very least, I initiated this product. I promoted the lectures and they accepted it and they want to use it in the class. The next plan to make sure the quality, I gave it to the department because it's all on the department internal usage. So for example, maybe the lectures will conduct monthly evaluation or 3 semester evaluation from for the product tryout again. So the not only the sample for one class that I took for my product tryout, but also for all offerings in one cohort, for example. So I think that's the only way for the in the near future. Does that answer your question, sir?
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And my next question will be about your methodology. I'm very curious about the step of expert validation because the expert that you were taking in this research, if I'm not mistaken, is one from the Palaski University and one is from your own university. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And could you please tell us how did you maintain the objectivity and how did you prevent the issue of bias? Because as what we all know, you are one of the alumnus of study abroad program in Palaski University, and you're also the student in Universitas Negeri Malang. So how would you maintain those? How do you tackle those issues?
Yes, thank you for the criticism, sir. The bias issues is actually not only applied for the expert validator from Palaski University, but also from Universitas Negeri Malang. That's why the one who validates my product is not from my two supervisor, Bu Mika or Bu Nova. Instead, the expert validators is from another lecturer, another media expert, either Bu Yvonne or Bu Hasti. And thank God Bu Hasti willingly helped me. And I think the bias can be avoided because I think they also want to maintain the reputation. So I think that there will be necessary bias issues in this case because they also they're a media expert, so they know what they're doing, they know the indicators, and also talking about the objective of the same assessment in the product checklist. I think to avoid the misunderstanding, that's why I send the product checklist to both experts to have the same indicators of assessment, which are about content, program operation, design, and layout. And each of these 3 indicators have 3 to 5 components again. From those points, they can checklist or cross if the website fulfill or not fulfill the criteria. So I think from this point of view, I think that's how I can avoid bias issues or misunderstandings, sir.
Can you please elaborate more about how you avoid the issue of bias in the site of Palaski University?
Yes, of course, sir. Sorry to miss that point. I think the way that I did is that I sent through email formally and politely. I asked the letter from my department to ask for permission to ask this external validation from outside University or Indonesia. And from the letter that I've got from the department, I send it through email to Ma'am Helena as the academic writing lecturer. So the one who can validate is not random lecturer, sir. It's supposed to be the one who has the expertise in this field. So either academic writing lecture, media expert who mastered tall, mall, or call. So I think that's the only way that the way that I did to avoid bias issues.
Okay, I think that's all my questions for now. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Firman. Now let's move on to Ms. Novia.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just have two questions here and review advice for you, Heidi. For the first question, why you only need 50 respondents for your research? I mean, that's didn't even half of the students in cohort 2019-2020, right? Do you have any reasons for that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for catching this point. The reason why I took 50 respondents for my questionnaire in the NEET analysis is because it's actually already more than 10% of the population, ma'am. So my population for my research is actually only uh, ELE and ELL students cohort 2019-2020 that take essay writing course the third semester. So there are 4 offerings for each for ELE and 4 offerings for ELL, and one class has at least 25 students. So in total they have 200, right? So I think the 10% of 200 is only 20, but I took 50 instead. Why? Because first of all, it's because 10%, the minimum of respondent of 10% is achieved, more than 20, which is 50. And second of all, it's from recommendation from my first supervisor, Bu Mika. She suggested me to have 50 respondents instead. So the percentage in the result would be genap. How to say in English genap? Not like point something like that. So it's easier and also already achieve the minimum.
Okay, that's understandable. The second question, I think it's kinda easy, but it's tricky questions, in my opinion. So, what is the weakness of your research, your study?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. I apologize for forgetting to put the weaknesses or the drawbacks that from the from my product or my website. Actually, I already wrote it in my conclusion and suggestion in my full paper, but I will revise it my slide later on. So there are 3 drawbacks that I found from my website to be objective. Number 1, my website's link can only be open in Google Chrome and Safari, but not in Mozilla Firefox because they have different settings and size of web link. And secondly, the drawback that I found from my suitable resources, even though my resources are more relevant and more suitable for ELE and ELL students in comparison to previous studies and research, but unfortunately the model essays that I selected on my website, it's only in a specific or certain issues and discussion related to ELE and ELL concerns. So it's not diverse outside of the English language education, literature and linguistics. It's not global discussions talking about other fields. So it has limited topics. And last but not least, Of course, my website link still need internet connection, so it still cannot be accessed offline, ma'am. So I think those are the three drawbacks from my website.
Okay, that's the weaknesses of your product, right? How about the study in general, your study, your thesis? What is the weakness of your thesis in your opinion?
More about the substantive, is that what you meant, ma'am?
Anything.
Yes, ma'am. I think the materials that I provide is still only highlighting expository essays. I think it's very limited source because academic writing has so many essays types, argumentative essays, descriptive essay, narrative essay, and other essays types. But I only focus on the expository essay materials because essay writing course at the course profile only need to talk about it to pass the course, and also the discussion inside of the expository essays already that much for one semester, ma'am. But other than that, I think again the model essays topics are very limited to English language education, literature, and linguistics. As you can see from this feature, the archive feature, for example, the topics are only about education, English, literature, or even linguistics. There's not like global issues like feminism or something like that, man. So I think that's also the lacking of my content of thesis, man. If that answers your questions already.
Okay, that's the actual weaknesses, right? In my own honesty, you need to just have, if you get this question, I think you can only just answer it with one weakness of your study of your thesis, because you mentioned more than two weaknesses, and if you have those weaknesses, so what for you you have to do this research. You have a lot of weaknesses, and that's just make your study more, weaker or something like that. I think you understand my words, right? Itu sih. Terus aku pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya.
Yes, ma'am. As you wish.
Terus mungkin aku tadi catch beberapa mispronounce kamu. Kayak yang pertama tuh fokus. Itu tuh bukan focus, dear, bacanya. It's focus.
Focus. Alright, noted, ma'am.
Ya. Tadi kamu bahkan 2 kali mention, jadi kayaknya you need to be more careful about the pronunciation. Terus yang kedua, develop. Kamu tadi bacanya develop apa gimana gitu, pokoknya kurang tepat. Mungkin itu bisa dipertimbangkan lagi. Udah sih, that's all from my side. Back to Mba Alip.
Thank you so much for the advice and also the questions, Ms. Novia. Now this is the last examiner. It will be the last question for Haider. So actually, I would like to say congratulations first for you, Haider, because you have passed through this kind of thesis stage in your last moment in your college life, and you have done it really well, really good, I think, because you have developed something which I think is very complex, but you can do it in a very limited time, because we know that our most of the friends in our department need more than a year to finish their thesis, but you do R&D, and it's it's done less than a year. That's really great. Congratulations. I'm here only to ask something basic. I think, yeah, but I think even though this is basic, but it's really important to be asked for. The first question is, as we know that in R&D there are many models such as work and goal, Adi, even Sugiono, and sort of things. But why you considered work and goal at your for your thesis? Is there any considerations?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for bringing that concern. The reason why I chose a research method from the theory of Board and Goal 1983 is because first consideration, the 7 stages. I think it's really relevant and relevant structures and stages for developing a website and similar products, ma'am. It is proven by the previous research and studies that I've read. My references, most of my references that develop similar products such as website, prototype, and even Android applications, they use the 7 stages of Bird and Goal 1983 instead of the 10 stages or other theory. Is because number one, these 7 stages is believed and considered as ideal for the step to develop 4 months at the very least of website development. Not like it's totally different case when you want to develop or create material or curriculum or book specifically for ESP, for example. So based on this consideration, and also my similar previous products, which are Silka 2016, VRC 2021, Mba Alip 2020, and other similar products to develop website and application. They all use these 7 stages, and also my supervisors agreed with this method. So I think based on those consideration, I chose to pick this Board and Goal 1983, ma'am.
Right, I got it. This is only for saran gitu ya. If you want to tell us about why you took this model, I think you have answered it well. Like because it's for developing a website, so that's why Board and Goal is the most suitable one to develop a website. But it's better if you just mention more detail why website is really fit with Board and Goal. Yeah, because you only just like mention it. Yeah, there's no it needs more elaboration on it. For instance, I actually didn't take Board and Goal, but Adi instead. And the reason why I took Adi is because my the students which I used for the tryout was only 10 students. That's why I took Adi. So that's what is that? That makes sense if I can say that I use Adi rather than another models, just like that. So I think maybe you can just put your your strong argument why you took this for your website, right? And for the next question is, you always mention about 5 steps in writing at the very first place, and that's why you develop your website based on the 5 steps as well. And could you mind to explain more why 5 steps here that you have mentioned is very crucial? And yeah, why it's really crucial?
Yes, ma'am. The main reason why this 5-step process writing approach is really crucial to my research is because, first of all, essay writing course at Faculty of Letters Universitas Negeri Malang has been using this approach for many years back then. It is picked and chosen to be teach in the classroom because this 5-step process writing approach focus on uh, focus on the essay development and structures instead of the final output, ma'am. So why focusing on the final output is not strategic and in comparison to the process, because back then when lectures or the department focus on the final output, uh, uh, the students lack of lack of learning of the process of outlining, uh, reading, brainstorming, and also rewriting and revising them. So they directly write the essay as scattered as words, and it's not really well structured because there is no this 5-step. That's why this 5-step process writing approach is really helpful for students to structurize their essay writing types based on the layers of paragraphs. So they don't need to be hurried by the deadline, because this 5-step writing approach already set all the schedule, and if it's approved by the lecturer or not, then they can move or not, ma'am. So I think that's the reason why this 5-step process writing approach is really crucial, because it has been used and it helps students to structurize their essay writing from the thesis statement, body paragraph, until the concluding paragraph, ma'am.
Very well, thank you so much. It's well explained. Now, this is my last question. You explained to us about the tryout session, and you also mentioned about the indicators which you asked to your respondents. And what is your reasons and considerations to take those indicators for the tryout?
Pardon, ma'am?
Okay, it's for the tryout. Yeah, so there are aspects that you ask to the respondents that are general aspects: layout, writing material, and controlling use. Why you ask those things to them? Why not others?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for that questions. At the beginning, I had the option to use 3 indicators, just the same as the expert validations indicators, which are content, program operation, and design and layout, which each of the indicators has 5 components to assess. But unfortunately, my instrument validator, which is memorily, didn't agree with the same indicators with the expert validation, because the students need more elaboration and details on what aspect they need to experience and need to tell the truth of their experience. For example, in general aspect, there are 6 components to assess. In layout, there are 6 components to assess also, and in writing material and also in control and use, they have 7 components to assess. And and in these 4 factors, all these 4 factors is more suitable because they already assessing all the features and the details on the website. So everything, every answer and every qualitative feedback coming from the target user will fulfill all of the experience that need to be assessed in the product tryout, ma'am. So I think that is the reason why I chose these 4 indicators, because my first initiation was rejected by my instrument validator, and second of all, this is the recommendation from Ma'am Ruli to adopt her instrument, because it's more complex, more details for students' preference.
All right, thank you. So your considerations are all from someone else what is that advice? I think it's better if you also put another reasons, like a reason from yourself regarding to the website. I mean, because the objection of your website is to help the students in certain aspects. So you need to say that those aspects that you ask to the students can measure whether your website can really help them. Yeah. So I think, yeah, you can just put that. All right. I think that's it for my questions. Yay. We have done, not yet, because we haven't discussed about your, what is that? Your result of the thesis examination here. Because tomorrow, after you, ya kan ya Novia hari, after you have like present your thesis, then you will be out from the Zoom and you will be called back to listen to the result, whether you passed the test or not. And that was really, tapi ya pasti lolos lah, insya Allah. Itu cuma,
with a lot of revisions.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah.
The prep. Thank you Kak Gading, thank you Brama, thank you Mba Alip, Novia, Okik, thank you so much. Sorry ganggu waktu malamnya. Thank you.
Sukses selalu Haidir, sumpah itu kayak, aduh, ini tuh ya di atas rata-rata sih menurutku. Buat just for a more thesis examination, this is like beyond that, loh. Sukses selalu. Amin.
Iya, semangat ya, Dir. Sorry nanti aku nggak bisa datang. Kamu tanggal 25 kan?
It's okay.
Semoga lancar, Jaya. Aku izin live ya.
Ya, no. Monggo. Thank you, no.
Iya, sama-sama, semangat, Dir. Makasih Mba Alip, makasih semuanya. Have a good rest.
Terima kasih Kak Gading.
Thank you semuanya. Dir, sorry, ini ininya kapan sih? Besok berarti ya?
Sidangnya
Rabu
pagi.
Sidangnya Rabu pagi. Online, offline. Online. Ini kamu berarti masih di Kalimantan?
Ini saya di Sidoarjo, tapi nanti sidangnya di Bali, Mas.
Oh, baik. Alright, ya wes. Oke. Good luck ya, Dir. Sehat-sehat selalu, makan minum before prior the thesis ini defense, it's ini important basics. Oke, Dir, thank you ya. Mari semuanya. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas. Thank you, Dir. Selamat. Iya, selamat sih. Semangat. Udah siap banget sih ini. Oke, good luck ya. Aku izin ya. Dadah semua.
Oke, thank you Okik for coming.
Did I ask like a stupid questions? Soalnya gue nggak tahu kayak gini-beginian.
Bagus. Kenapa aku invite kamu? Karena Bu Andre itu kan bukan supervisorku. Jadi pasti dari pihak beliau perspektif pertanyaannya pasti ini kan lebih luas, lebih awam, lebih general. Nah makanya aku invite kamu karena pasti perspektif pertanyaannya mungkin bakal sama.
So you're saying my pertanyaan is awam?
Bukan awam, tapi maksudnya lebih luas. Thank you Ki for coming dong.
Oke.
Maaf jelek
presentasi. Enggak kok, kayaknya aku melihat mereka pada memuji kamu semua dan katanya kamu bisa menyelesaikan ini kurang dari 1 tahun.
Iya.
Which is
sugar coating gimana sih? Mah masa dimaki-maki jelek, nanti aja maki-makinya pas sidang lah.
Ini gue sambil ngerjain laporan lagi ya deh. Kenapa?
Masih flu nggak?
Well, it's getting a lot better actually, but still not really at my best performance.
Bentar aku
Wait.
stop sharing, stop